Bronze is an alloy of copper and tin. Yet, there is not a single tin mine in the Eastern Mediterranean. Millions of archaeological excavations, yet in Greece, tin objects are more rare than gold objects. The conclusion is quite simple. There was a vast trading network via the Phoenicians. Europe was fully known to those of the Eastern Mediterranean. Further proof in this comes from a 2019 research paper from Heidelberg University in collaboration with the Kurt Engelhorn Center for Archaeometry in Mannheim, where they examined tin ingots from archaeological sites in Greece, modern-day Turkey, and Israel. They are chemically far closer to the tin deposits in Europe than of Central Asia. For example, the tin artifacts from Israel largely match tin from Cornwall and Devon, Great Britain. In simpler words, tin was imported from Europe in order to make bronze. A last proof of tin's origin and how connected the ancient world was is the origin of tin for ancient Greeks. Cassiterides. Greeks never minded. Bronze, tin, silver, gold. They block electromagnetic waves, all the while being conductive. The following is from Wikipedia on electromagnetic shielding. Copper is used for radio frequency shielding because it absorbs radio and other electromagnetic waves. Common sheet metals for shielding include copper, brass, nickel, silver, steel, and tin. For example, electrically dominant waves are reflected by highly conductive metals like copper, silver, and brass. RF shielding is also used to protect medical and laboratory equipment to provide protection against interfering signals, including AM, FM, TV, emergency services, dispatch, pagers, ESMR, cellular, and PCS. It can also be used to protect the equipment at the AM, FM, or TV broadcast facilities. A bronze armor is harder than an iron armor, and it also makes its wearer immune to electromagnetic waves, all while being conductive. The following are the names of the Greek gods that we should examine. Zeus, god of electricity or polarity. Hermes, god of transmission or information. Hercules, sun, emitting the most electricity. Hephaestus, god of machines. Hera, pomegranate is her symbol. Figure it out, let me not spoil everything. They were so obsessed with bronze to the point they had even cookware made of bronze, and were familiar with gears and machinations. But you think they couldn't wrap a bronze coil and figure out electricity? Even though their healers walked around with bronze coils wrapped around their staffs? This is Asclepius with his staffi. You are looking at a directed energy apparatus, commonly known as a staff. The caduceus and rod of Asclepius are literally bronze, wrapped around an electromagnetic object. Or you think the ancients had no idea about what a magnet is? These magic rocks? Channeling healing frequencies to boost someone's immune system sounds laughable today because our medical industry suppressed this technology. But now that you know a staff using a conductive metal could be used to heal, here is a suspicious literary reference. In the Book of Numbers, Old Testament, the context is Israelites were damaged and wanted to be healed, and to heal, they were bitten by the bronze serpent of Moses. Numbers 21 verse 8. And the Lord said unto Moses, Make thee a fiery serpent, and set it upon a pole, and it shall come to pass, that every one that is bitten, when he looketh upon it, shall live. Numbers 21 verse 9. And Moses made a serpent of bronze, and put it on a pole, and it came to pass, that if a serpent had bitten any man, when he beheld the serpent of bronze, he lived. Bronze of all metals, curious isn't it? I could delve into healing by electricity, Wilhelm Reich, Royal Rife, or even the fascinating symbol of snakes in much archaeological imagery being a reference to electricity. It rationalizes much of snake worship in history. For example, being dangerous or poisonous, kills on touch, symbol of wisdom, but evil. Ouroboros being a closed circuit, snakes being wires, etc. But it's best to speed right to the end. Cybele in Greek is kivali. Kubali, li being the female suffix. Cube in Greek is kivos. Etymologically, cub and kib is obvious. To quote a Greek historical book I own, translation my own. In 204 AD, the Roman Senate decided to transfer from Pessinus, Phrygia, the black cube which symbolized the goddess, and build her a temple on Palatine Hill. I searched in Wikipedia on the entry of Cybele, and I quote, "At Pessinus in Phrygia, the mother goddess, identified by the Greeks as Cybele, took the form of an unshaped stone of black meteoric iron. This was the aniconic stone that was removed to Rome in 204 BC. The goddess arrived in Rome in the form of Pessinus' black meteoric stone. When Cybele's sacred stone was taken in procession from the Palatine Temple to the Porta Capena and down the Appian Way to the stream called Olmo, a tributary of the Tiber. There the stone and sacred iron implements were bathed in the Phrygian manner by a red-robed priest." The following is from the Wikipedia entry of Temples of Cybele in Rome. Annually, on March 27th, the sacred black stone of the Magna Mater was brought from her temple on the Palatine to where the brook of the Olmo, now called the Acquitaccio, crossed the Via Appia south of the Porta Capena for the ceremony of lavatio, washing. Although there are numerous references to this ceremony, it seems to have constituted a locus sacratus or sacred place rather than a permanent building, in view of the lack of archaeological evidence for it. Of this temple on Palatine Hill, nothing really remains. The temple remained in use until the late 4th century. It was destroyed in 394 AD on the orders of Emperor Theodosius I during the persecution of pagans in the late Roman Empire. As a result, the modern temple you can visit has nothing to do with the original temple. I'll go back to the Wikipedia entry about Cybele. But her most celebrated Greek rites and processions show her as an essentially foreign, exotic mystery goddess who arrives in a lion-drawn chariot to the accompaniment of wild music, wine, and a disorderly, ecstatic following. Is this not the whore of Babylon from the Apocalypse of John? With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, on which the woman sitteth. And the 10 horns which thou saw are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. And he said unto me, The waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigns over the kings of the earth. Pay attention to verse 9. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, which means Palatine Hill. To quote the very first phrase from Palatine Hill's Wikipedia entry, the Palatine Hill, Classical Latin, Palladium, Neo-Latin, Palus or Mons Palatinus, Italian, Palatino, which relative to the 7 hills of Rome is the centermost. And in verse 18 it reads, that great city which reigns over the kings of the earth, which means Rome. There is only one way an entity can have power over peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues, and that is digital technology. Think social media addiction. And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication, or more accurately connecting to their network, access granted by Rome. All roads lead to Rome.